Oh boy, I think we're like, hold on.
I'm crying.
All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald is my very special guest today, Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. Been a while since we've been on, so we're a little rusty, I think, here. Today's show is being brought to you in part by Embrace. Embrace is the leading voice and comprehensive advocacy services provider for survivors of domestic and sexual violence in the four-county service area of Barron, Washburn, Rusk, and Price counties. Embrace provides unwavering support to survivors. Through education and awareness, they engage our communities and create multidisciplinary partnerships to increase safety and equity, advancing their mission of ending gender-based violence. Embrace strives to create a courageous social change that will end all forms of oppression in our communities. Everyone deserves a healthy communities and support to thrive. If you or someone that you know is experiencing intimate partner violence or sexual assault, you are not alone, and it is not your fault. Embrace is here to help. You can contact Embrace for free confidential advocacy and support at 1-800-924-0556 or text them at 715-532-6976. Well, like I said, it's been a while since we've done a live chat, so we're a little bit rusty, but let's get right into our guest today. Back on here, there he is, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald. Fitzy, good morning.
Good morning.
How are things? It's been, I think, almost 5 weeks since you were on here last.
Yeah, been a while, and a few things have happened in the world, so,
Yeah, it's kind of gotten weird. Actually, I put up the announcement that you were going to be on for this morning, so I put on DrydenWire last night. I received a very articulated email when I woke up this morning about how you shouldn't be on the show anymore. And
I should.
I mean, there were some words that I even had some great swear words I'd never even heard of before. So I had to look some of those up. I thought that was interesting, but it seems like that's kind of where we are in this time, where it's do you support police or don't you, and what does that mean if you do, and what does that mean if you don't? And I don't know if, two white guys are the people to be talking about it, but I do think having a conversation about these things is healthy, and I think it's important. I don't know what your thoughts on that or what you want to get into, but I think these discussions should be taking place.
Well, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, these discussions need to take place no matter where you are in the world. And, right here in Barron County, I'm the sheriff, and some people, I have some fans, and sometimes you don't have some fans in the world of law enforcement, and it's normally it's because you got a ticket and you're mad, but there's some different things going on in the world. We're just lucky enough, I think, to live in Northwest Wisconsin, where we don't see a lot of these things that happen other places, and we're blessed, but there's not saying it doesn't happen here, it can't happen here, or we don't need to be aware of it. And I think awareness is really where we're at, or I'm at personally and professionally, and where my department is at, is awareness is going to be a key. We need to be aware of everything that goes on around us, and we need to take, action when things don't go, or are being discriminated against, or there's racism, or whatever the answer is, or whether it's just, part of our jobs, our duties that we do every day. So being aware of our surroundings is what's going to be key for our department and where we're at in today's world.
Well, what kind of conversations did you have with, or if any, with your deputies, with your team after, or maybe you still are, I'm not sure, but after the George Floyd, after his death in Minneapolis? What kind of conversations did you have?
Well, after any event of this magnitude, there's been other things, across the world that you deal with some things, and obviously some people take shots at law enforcement, and I told our patrol division, our jail division, and our dispatchers that people are going to say some things. Some of that stuff has just got to roll off of us, and we just got to go with it. We're not going to take any punches, but we're also not going to let words aren't a big deal. I mean, They're just words that come out of people's mouths, and as long as we're doing our job and we're doing it the right way, then we don't have anything to worry about. But when we react to those words, or that can get some people in trouble, and we don't want that. So sometimes you just have to let the words just roll right off of you, and that was the advice I gave on my department.
Have you had protests out in Barron County?
No. Well, I don't know if we call it a protest. We had a peaceful walk, and we took some criticism for that, for being even there part of that, and we weren't there as part of the walk itself. But ultimately, we weren't. This is part of our community. Our community invited us to this, invited law enforcement. The Barron Police Department invited us from a security standpoint. We had a security plan in place. And so it looked like I was in the front, and the chief of Barron, Joe Verkant, was in the back, and it looked like we were leading it and following it, and we weren't leading the march around Barron. We were in the front making sure all the roads were blocked and people were staying on the sidewalk, and no one was bothering these people that were walking peacefully. But they promoted law enforcement. They thanked law enforcement. The Somali population was there, stood up, and said they had never been discriminated against in 10 years here in Barron by the Sheriff's Department or the Barron Police Department. I felt really good about that. That's been the goal of it. Now, I'm not saying there never has been anybody's ever been discriminated against, but, we try to make sure that at least the people that spoke said they never had been, and that's a great thing. And we were there. It was peaceful. They thanked law enforcement for everything they did. And so, yes, we were part of it, but we didn't lead it. We didn't put it on. There were some great hosts, and we learned from all of that, and it's conversations and listening is what's going to make the world a better place.
Well, I know that's one thing that when this all happened, obviously, again, being white, it's what do I do in this situation? First and foremost, obviously, the death of George Floyd was a travesty. It's horrific, etc. And I feel so sorry for the family that are now left without that person in their life. There's no way around that. That is duh. Your heart just has to go out to that. But most of these protests have been peaceful. And of course, the news, they're going to show the ones that aren't peaceful because, who'd want to watch just a peaceful protest on the news? And I kind of look at it like the cops as well, that I still support. I've always supported law enforcement. But it's not like just 100% blanket support. There's going to be some bad cops, and they're going to do some dumb things, and they should be held accountable as well. But mostly I'm actually seeing, if you read between the lines and you look at the back pages of newspapers, it's peaceful. But I think the challenge what a lot of people are having now is we're kind of now getting put in this box that either you are a Black Lives Matter supporter or you are a law enforcement supporter, and they're contradicting each other. That's what they're trying to separate those and divide those, when I think you can be both. I don't know, but I think a lot of people, that's where they're starting to question some things. And if you say that you support law enforcement, maybe that's racist now. And most people don't want to be racist, and it's why I don't want to be either. But I still support law enforcement. That's a juxtaposition. Have you had those conversations with anyone in the community in Barron?
I don't think so. I mean, yes, I think you need to support law enforcement. I think it's important, but you need to support everyone in everything that we do every day of the week. And that's the job of law enforcement. When we answer the phone, and we've had this conversation before, when it becomes election time, like, we don't answer 911 calls and say, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? If it's a 5-minute response, if you're a Democrat, it's a 7-minute response if you're a Republican, or vice versa. We don't ask those questions when we respond to a call. And you're right. If there is a bad cop out there, and a bad cop doesn't mean somebody that wrote you a ticket and you're mad about it. Bad cop means, because that's what people get upset about that. But if you were treated unfairly, if you were discriminated against, that's the kind of stuff that as a leader I want to know about, so I can either fix the problem or get rid of the problem. Yeah. I'm not afraid to get rid of a bad cop. But again, a bad cop doesn't mean they did your job, they arrested you for OWI, and you're upset about that. That's doing their job and protecting our community. And our law enforcement will continue to protect our community to the full extent of the law, and they won't take the law into their own hands. They'll intervene when excessive force is used. I reviewed our policy over this, and I think our policy is very well written when it comes to use of force and the escalation of the use of force. And we start with verbal techniques, and we go hands-on, and then we go less lethal, and then ultimately we can go lethal if we need to. Luckily, under my 12 years and 22 years of law enforcement, we haven't used lethal force. I shouldn't say that. We did fire on somebody that fired at us a few years ago in the Dallas area. Now, that subject wasn't hit, and none of our officers were hit, but deadly force was justified if they had struck him, and luckily the bullets were stopped by the car door. So that did happen in Barron County. We did use that. It was justified. But again, there's rules in place, there's things in place that our policy manual covers, and that I'm very proud of. And I'm very proud of the work that our law enforcement officers do, and I stand behind them. And again, sometimes there's a bad teacher, there's a bad doctor, there's a bad somebody. We've arrested probably somebody in every profession in Barron County at some point or along the way. And so that's terrible when it happens. It hurts when, I've been there when a teacher's been arrested. I've been there when, and that hurts. It stings your profession, and that sucks. But that's just how life is, and people make mistakes, and we learn from them. And I think we can all learn and listen more.
Well, I was just going to bring that up. You had mentioned it earlier about listen and educate yourself. I know that's one thing that I started doing, watching shows or reading, kind of being told, if you're white, just listen and educate yourself. So I literally did. I'm just going to start. So I read a lot, Wikipedia, but still, I looked into a lot of more black culture to try to understand that, because I don't know if I can really have an opinion. I mean, I can, but I don't know. I've never been oppressed. If I go by and I see you driving down the road, but I see that you're a cop, my hands are going to be on the wheel because I don't want to get a ticket. I'm like, oh, don't pull me over. But that feeling must be different if you're a black person, and I can't relate to that. So I don't know what to do except just keep listening and keep reading and trying to understand and ask, what can I do on whether it's from DrydenWire or just personally? Is there something I can be doing? Is there something I should be doing? And that's honestly, I'm still in that middle spot where I really haven't come to a conclusion on what to do quite yet. I think this is probably helpful, or at least for me, just to kind of work through some things. Because, I don't think I've ever been racist, but I don't know if that's enough anymore. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing more, and that's where I'm getting confused as to what am I supposed to be doing.
Well, I think that's a good point. I think we can all do more on every topic, whether it's domestic abuse, and we've talked about Embrace a ton of times on this show. Yeah. What should we involve ourselves more in that? Should we help more people? Is poverty the answer? Is it racism? Is it whatever the topic is? We can all do more, and we've, and during that peaceful walk in Barron, I really felt some energy. I thought it was really, really powerful. And that's the kind of power that through our National Night Out we wanted to bring. It brings law enforcement and communities together to make a difference. And we need more people to stand up and say, this is our community. We're not going to let this stuff happen, whatever topic it is, domestic abuse, drunk driving, drugs, methamphetamine, or racism. I think we all need to do more, and I think this is just empowering a lot of people to do more. They just have to do more, about a topic and be peaceful about it. We're not going to let people, wreck buildings and do things like that. I don't think that's the way. It's a way to get some media and some coverage, but we got to do things together and make a difference.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I really had felt guilty for feeling a way when I saw buildings being burnt down. We've seen cops, we've seen other people have died during these protests over the last few weeks. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not the answer. But once again, am I able to really have an opinion on that? Because I've never been in that situation. So I don't know, but I think I'm to the point where I can say, okay, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Right? Burning things down and killing other people, I don't know if more hate is going to solve anything.
Well, and it can't be for me, because my job is to protect the businesses and the citizens of Barron County, and that's what it's about. And so I can't allow those things to happen. Now, maybe I don't understand. I've never been the chief of Minneapolis, and I only have so many people, and there's so many people in the room, that you can't maybe control it, and you have to let some things go. So I've never felt that either. So I'm learning from that from a leadership standpoint on what people did and didn't do, and hopefully we can come to a middle ground. Again, that's where you sit back and listen and things like that.
Well, and I think just having those conversations, whether it's like you talking to your deputies or just people at home talking to each other, maybe don't have a conversation like this in a Facebook group on comments or something. Just throwing that out there. Those usually don't end up very well. But I think that's important. My wife and I, we have a mixed family. We have children from different marriages, and we have two children that are mixed as well, half black and half white. But we've never treated them any differently. We don't, whether our kids or a stepkid, or it just doesn't matter. But I think I guess where I'm going with all of this is I'm still at that place where I don't know exactly what to think and feel, what I should or shouldn't do. But I think just having those conversations are important. I've just never looked at anyone different. I know saying all lives matter, that is kind of contrary to Black Lives Matter movement. But in a weird way, I've just always looked at everyone the exact same. And I do realize there is systemic racism. I mean, that is out there. And that's horrible. I just don't know what role I'm supposed to be playing in it. So...
And I think, and I have this, I'm part of the Rotary Club here in Rice Lake, and I think National Rotary put out a really nice statement that I'm going to read because I think it's good. It says at Rotary, and I think you can take the word Rotary out and put at the Sheriff's Department, at wherever, DrydenWire, we have no tolerance for racism, promoting respect, celebrating diversity, demanding ethical leadership, and working tirelessly to advance peace are the central tenets of our work. We have more work to do to create a more just, open, and welcoming communities for all people. And it goes on to say, but I think we all need to do our part to listen, learn, and take action to ensure we continue to contribute to making positive change. And I just think this Rotary statement is really something that I've carried with me since the day it got printed. And I just think you can take the word Rotary out and put anything, and it's just, we've got some work to do, and we've got to make our communities better, but we've been striving to do that for the 12 years that I've been sheriff, and we've done a great job here in Northwest Wisconsin, and more specifically Barron County. We have a great community that supports each other. We've seen that in the tornado, the Kloss case, no matter what it is, and I think in this, I think we had a great turnout in Barron. That, the Barron Park was vandalized, and it said BLM, and it did some vandalism to the park, and the Barron police chief has an active case on that, and we're trying to figure out who did it, because that's not right. But it's raising awareness, and we're aware of it, but we don't want our beautiful parks and our areas where we take our kids, and we want everyone to feel welcome, and I think that's our job in Barron County, and as a citizen of your community, and whether you're a law enforcement officer or not. So,
yeah. And we're talking about it, and I think that's
right.
important too. Defunding the police. What are your thoughts and views on that? I mean, that's a pretty big umbrella there, but where do you want to go with that?
Yeah, where do I want to go? I don't. It's not a topic that, I just don't know, and I haven't studied it enough. So again, these are, my comments, and I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I think people need law enforcement, but again, if maybe it's educating the police and training more, or whatever it is. But I don't think defunding is the answer, because we all need police protection. We all need to feel safe, and that's what you've enlisted the citizens of Barron County have told me to do, is keep us safe, and that's what we do with our budget every year. I think our people are trained good. And we have the right equipment, and we've done everything we can, and we have great community support. So I don't think defunding the police, if you want to spend some more money on some different topics in law enforcement and teach us to do some things differently, or educate us differently, or allow us to listen to community groups, or maybe it's bring all your officers in and do more community policing models. Through this, I think I've always been a community policing officer, or kind of guy, mission driven on that, and I want to bring back some community policing. And this allowing us, this COVID situation has allowed us, or it's going to allow us to bring community policing back, because there's really no events this year. There's no Aquafest, there's no fireworks, there's no Barron County Fair, where we do a lot of our community policing. So we're going to have to go back to our old community policing models of getting out of our squad car and hanging out in the park, or going to the campground and throwing the football around with some kids. And some of our deputies have already done that on their own, and I think that's great. So we're ordering some footballs to throw around to some kids, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to come out of through COVID and through the tensions out there in the world, to bring law enforcement closer with the community. We need to be one with the community. It's not law enforcement in the community, it's all one. We are members of your community. We live and work in your community just like you do, and we're part of your community. Now, we have a different job that, means that we have to carry a gun, and we may have to use deadly force. That is entirely possible any second of any day for any law enforcement officer. But it's something that we take great pride in, and we train in, and we have all the right equipment to do our job, and we respect everyone in our community. And I think that's what's important. So defunding the police isn't the answer. Defending them maybe isn't the right answer either, but we need to work together on this issue, and we need to listen more. People need to listen and realize that we're trained in a certain way to do a certain job.
Well, and you're looking at it from your. We talked earlier about just personally how you. We're all kind of in that moment of self-reflection and questioning a lot of what we feel, which I think is healthy, but also from a professional standpoint. In this case, being the sheriff in the sheriff's department, and even you have 45,000 citizens that live there. Obviously, a lot more than that go through there and they come up on vacation. But like you had brought up the COVID. That also is, people are dying from COVID, but there are things that we can kind of use some of this stuff and make us better in the future. It's not to make any kind of light or not actually say that the things that happened that got us to that point were bad. But if we just allow it just to continue to be bad, that's not really helping anything. But that self-reflection and the listening and then figuring out what can I do differently, whether it's personally or professionally. So some people are bringing this up, so I just want to throw it. I don't know it's about the Rice Lake police officer thing, but that's the Rice Lake police office. One of the questions we discussed, a no confidence letter from 10 officers with the Rice Lake Police Department towards the chief of that department. I'm only bringing it up because we've had a lot of questions on it, but again, that really wasn't on my list to bring up, only because, again, it's the Rice Lake Police Department, not the Barron County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, obviously I know a little bit about it and what their officers had. I wrote a letter against the police chief saying that he wasn't involved, he didn't do certain things, he didn't train them, he doesn't fill shifts. And some of that is the management right. I have a management right to not fill a shift today if somebody calls in sick. That's my management right to do. So Chief Rue has some, but obviously he has a department that is split right now, and we've got to figure out a way to bring that together. Obviously a lot of those, I came from Rice Lake PD. Rice Lake PD means a lot to me. I live in the city of Rice Lake. I was a Rice Lake PD officer for the first 11 years of my career, and that's where I started my law enforcement career. So, and I've always lived in Rice Lake. My kids go to Rice Lake school, so I want Rice Lake to excel. So, and Chief Rue's my friend. All their officers are my friends. So it's very tough from a leadership standpoint to have that. But that's for Chief Rue and his department to work on, and the city council to work on, and I don't know if it's over yet, but
Sure.
Maybe Chief Rue will come on your show and talk more about it.
Oh, well, someone just actually asked that. I should ask him if he wants to.
Yeah.
So you'd say, so fireworks aren't going on Rice Lake, right? Shell Lakes was canceled. Hey, what are you going to do, by the way? Because you usually come up to Shell Lake for the fireworks, don't you?
Yeah, I know. We're going to have ice cream somewhere else.
Just sit out Matt's ice cream stand and just have ice cream with some sparklers.
Right.
Is Cumberland on? I thought I heard that, and I think I'm posting a story today that Spooner's is officially on as of now. And Cumberland, are they on?
Cumberland's and Chautauqua's are going to be in Rice Lake. I believe the racetrack might be having some. So the Rice Lake Speedway is open. Obviously, there's social distancing.
Yeah.
I'm reading some of the questions here too. That isn't answering anything. Yeah, I don't have much.
You want him to answer? It's not his department.
I mean, I don't know much about it. I don't know any details. I know what I've read in the paper, and I know I've talked to some officers, and that's a Rice Lake PD thing. I don't. It's not good. I mean, there needs to be better communication between their officers and their city and their chief or whatever it is. So yeah, you're right.
You don't know.
It's not. It doesn't answer a lot, but I don't know a ton about it where I'd speak publicly about it. Because
let's talk about childbirth now. I want all your expert opinions on childbirth.
Yeah. So I apologize. It doesn't say anything. It's not good. I don't like it. But that's between the Rice Lake officers and Chief Rue, and it's got to get better, and hopefully it will get better, and everything will be back to normal.
Well, it's just not a good look.
Right.
Because I don't know anything. I don't know the intricacies, or I don't think any of the names of the police officers in Rice Lake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not a good look. I mean, because that if it shows that not that unity, if that's kind of broken, it's unfortunate. And hopefully, if it's not over, it will be, and they'll get it all figured out, and everything will be fine. But it's just not good.
None of us are perfect at our jobs, but we can all learn from it. And I learn from my people every day. And like I said, just because my name's on the door here doesn't mean that I know everything. And I depend on a lot of people from my command staff to my officers to my jailers to my dispatchers to teach me every day, because I don't know everything. I'm not perfect at my job. None of us are. And that sometimes that's our community members teaching us. I had a great conversation about meth the other day with somebody that had been recovered from meth, and they taught me some things about what we can do different in Barron County, and I think that's great. I don't know all the answers on meth. I've never smoked meth, and so we are using a consumer-driven base of teaching us more about methamphetamine. We had a great outing plan with some um, citizens in the community, some people that have recovered from meth, and they were going to teach us and tell us what the community could do better to support that, from landlords to lawmakers to police departments to other people, some of our workplaces. They were all going to come together prior to COVID, so we just don't want to have that event when we can go back to that. But this is a consumer driven, so if there's something to do with racism that I can learn from, that's my job, is to learn from the citizens of Barron County and every citizen out there to teach us to become a better and stronger sheriff's department.
With the exception of some of these events being canceled that you were talking about, with COVID and the safe at home not in place really, kind of, everyone was kind of doing our part. Is Barron County, for the most part, back to quote-unquote normal, or what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, we, for the most part, I would consider what we're doing normal. But people are cautious, and that's important. They, wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. Some people want to wear a mask, and some people don't. So that's good. And but just use caution. Wash your hands. If you've got to go somewhere, and just get it done. We're doing good. We've had a few cases in the last week and a half here in Barron County. They've been in close contact with each other, so that's good. They haven't been, just populated all over, but we're still going to get some more cases. More people are being tested. I think Wisconsin has done a great job in testing people for the COVID. I understand we might be moving to phase 2 here in Barron County, which is upping the number of people that can be inside for our churches and some other groups. I believe that announcement's going to come later today. So I think we've been doing a good job here in Barron County. We need to continue to do a good job. But for the most part, we are back to normal. I don't know of any place that's still closed. Our public libraries are still closed. I serve on the library board in Rice Lake and understand that through COVID, again, I learned a lot and sat back and listened. And a lot of people use the library. Just like our schools are places where our kids can feel safe, and we need to make sure our kids get back in school in the fall, because that's a safe place for them in certain family situations. And just like our libraries are also safe places and educational places and places that not everybody has the internet. When you talk about being, naive to some things, and there's some people out there that don't have internet, and we've got to fix that. And, I know Romaine's been a big supporter of getting rural broadband out here. And, it's just some of the things that you talk about, privilege, if you want to talk about that, and internet is one of those. And some people don't have it, and we need to take care of everyone and again, listen to that. And that's why our libraries are important. I know our library in Rice Lake is going to appointments to use the internet, because some people need that. And I think that's a great thing. So we're slowly opening up our libraries.
They got to get their DrydenWire fix.
Yeah,
that's why I'm a huge supporter of everyone having internet.
So we can get back.
Because how else? Actually, someone had a question right here, and I think it was some of the things you just talked about. Chris Fitzgerald, I know none of us likes all this Corona stuff, but if everything is saying it's just a recommendation now, how does Barron County plan to move forward to get past this? I think you kind of touched on some of those, but if you want to expand a little further.
Sure. Recommendation is the key word. There is not an enforcement effort in this, and I think that's important because people need to make some choices, and businesses needed to be given some options to open up, because a small business is important. So we went with recommendations with the word, and it's worked to our benefit, I think. I think more people are saying, let's be smart about this and not just go against the grain just because I'm going to go against the grain. And so I think the word recommendations is very key, and I think we will get past this together, doing the right things, and everybody continuing to be smart and, limiting our contacts. That's why the fair got canceled, and we're just trying to do some different things that I don't like. I love the fair. I'm the biggest I love the fair, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get my fix of food trucks somewhere. I'm gonna try to get a food truck out in front of the sheriff's department every Friday or something, so we can have a food truck out here. So, but working together, doing what's right for yourself is what you do first. And there's ways to support each other through this corona. And I think we've been doing a great job here in Barron County, and I think that's why we're gonna move into the next phase and allow a few more people to get out and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
We can always bring it back in. It's going to be tough to bring it back in, but our lakes and our trails have been booming. We're getting a lot of four-wheeler complaints, a lot of ATV complaints, because everybody's got four-wheelers. There's no festivals, so they're out riding four-wheelers or on their boats. So our rec officer's been very busy. That's one big change.
So you're saying that's how you see, that's how you know things are getting back to normal, because when I published the booking reports today from Barron County, it's going to be a much longer list. Crime's going back up. People are doing dumb things. I think we're getting past this.
Yeah, luckily, crime's not going back up at exponential rates. But yes, we've seen a few more people out and about, which causes some issues. We were at, I think we're at 44 OWIs for the year. We had 80 all of last year, so we're about even. Mm-hmm. Our accidents, I thought, would be down considerably. We're only down 20 less accidents from this time last year.
You're down how many?
20. So 100 and
what percent? Okay.
Yeah, I think I got it right here. We had 150 accidents this time last year in Barron County. We're at 128. So I thought we'd have a lot less because we had so many months of people not driving around doing anything, but there wasn't a lot. We've only had one fatality this year, so that's really good. We're at 44 OWIs this year already. And somebody said, well, there'd be less OWIs because the stay-at-home order. For some reason, they weren't. I don't know if they were getting drunk at home and then driving around.
Yeah, then they ran out of beer, and they had to go to the store.
Yeah, it must have been because our OWIs didn't decrease like I thought they would during the stay-at-home order. That's something interesting that I thought was just an interesting tidbit, if you want to call it, a useless fact, maybe, I don't know. But OWIs didn't decrease, and that's something we're going to continue to work on. Our OWI enforcement, our trails, and our water enforcement are three key things this summer, along with hopefully a new community policing model that, just makes us out there and more, interactive with the community and more accessible to our community. So I want our officers and our deputies to be more accessible to our citizens, and so they can ask questions and make sure they feel is safe and take care of some of these driving complaints or whatever it is.
And we're gonna get that airboat, right? We're gonna raise some money for an airboat.
Get an airboat?
Yeah, so I can come down and drive that. I'll police for you on the water.
Doesn't Shell Lake have one?
Oh, I don't know. No, they don't have an airboat.
I don't know.
I'll talk to Wilson.
Okay.
We'll see if we can raise some money for the Shell Lake Police Foundation.
You should just wait a minute. He'll probably comment.
Yeah. Hey, out of curiosity, when you look at those numbers, did you have anything for domestics? Like where you are?
I don't have anything. I didn't run our domestic numbers. We had a traffic safety meeting. That's why I have our traffic safety numbers. Awesome. But, obviously domestics did decrease a little bit. From a sheriff's department standpoint, I don't think from an Embrace standpoint, I think they were busier. There was a lot of people self-reporting, and I think that's what's good. That's something good that comes out of it. The police do not need to be involved in everything that goes on unless you don't feel safe. And there's a lot of programs out there, from meth to domestic abuse, that there's programs in this county that can help you get with those issues. The human services, our embrace ladies do a unbelievable job of making sure that you feel safe and you get out of a situation. So
I keep telling my neighbors that all the time. We don't need to get the police involved at all.
See, now your neighbors need to be involved, and now we got to do some more community policing.
Community policing, I love it. All right, man. What else do you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to?
I don't think there's much going on. I'm just happy I want everybody to have a very safe 4th of July. And we need
is somebody vacuuming?
No, they're mowing the grass.
Oh. Just vacuuming right in the middle.
Maintenance staff is here vacuuming my office. Maintenance is mowing the grass. I didn't tell them we were doing a live show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I didn't hear pretty much any of that.
Yeah. Okay. The 4th of July, we want everybody to have a safe 4th of July. That means wearing your life jackets. Our Kids Don't Float campaign. We have different life jackets at different landings around the county. If you happen to forget a life jacket for an extra person, there's life jackets around here. So we want all of those life jackets. Everybody be wearing life jackets or have them accessible. Be careful, being smart about lighting off fireworks. You can get a permit. A lot of our townships and cities get a permit to light fireworks. So you're legal to do that. We're going to chase a lot of fireworks complaints on the 4th of July. 4th of July is on a weekend. We expect heavy traffic on the roads, OWIs, on our boats and our trails. We have our full rec. We're working with the DNR. The DNR will be out in full force. Our rec officer will be out in full force. We'll have an extra rec officer on. We'll have extra patrol on. I'll be out working. I mean, I just enjoy the weekend of the 4th. There's a lot of, everybody's out. It's happy. Our campgrounds are full. So we want everybody just to be smart when it comes to the 4th of July.
Sounds like you have a lot of people out.
There'll be a ton of people out.
Police oppression. Got it. That was my note.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you actually anticipate having a lot more people with, because there has been like Rice Lake and Shell Lake canceling their fireworks? Therefore, people are, fine, I'm just going to fireworks show at home.
Yeah, I do. I do suspect that.
Awesome.
That's why. Awesome. That's why you can get a permit from your township or your city, so you legally can write these light fireworks off and have a little show for your neighborhood. Talk to your mayor, your city councilman, or your town chairman. Some townships issue the permits.
You know what you should do? This year, when you bust everyone for illegal fireworks, you obviously have to confiscate them. Save all that stuff up. You get a permit next year, and then you should have a law enforcement fireworks show.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to get the best fireworks this summer.
Yeah.
So you have to buy them, you have to fundraise for it. Nothing. You already have them, and you need to get rid of them.
No. We're probably not going to do that.
Okay.
But thanks. But I've listened. Did you hear me? I've listened.
Thank you.
And not every idea is a great idea, but we just sure listen.
Thanks, man, for coming on. Let's do it again soon.
I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support for law enforcement, and let's go out and make a difference in our communities.
And thank you to our sponsor today, Embrace. If you or someone you know is experiencing intimate partner violence or sexual assault, you are not alone, and it is not your fault. Embrace is here to help. Contact Embrace for free, confidential advocacy and support at 1-800-924-0556 or text at 715-532-6976. Thanks for everyone for watching, and we'll probably see you again next week. Have a great week.